All right, you guys asked for it. We're gonna do an equipment tour. And I am here right now with our two CP690 pickers. I am filming these first because they are currently about to be put on trailers and headed down to Corpus, where we are going to be doing some custom harvesting. A friend of ours is borrowing our pickers, or well, he's borrowing our pickers and he's paying us for them. And then my cousin is going to go out there with one of these pickers. He's going to run one of them. They have a different guy that they hire to run the other one. So these two cotton pickers are going to go down south to Corpus, and they're going to be doing some custom harvesting this year. But other than that, these two machines are pretty much identical. Besides, that one I believe is a 2015 and this one is a 2016. This one is anyways older than that one. This one, you can tell it has numbers on each row unit. That one doesn't. That's how we can always tell which is newer. But other than that, they are pretty much identical. And if you're not familiar with cotton pickers, let me just open this right up here. You can see they just have spindles to pick the cotton off of the plant itself. These have little teeth on there, and these will each bar of spindles will rotate very fast, and they will grab the cotton off of the plant. And then if you look back here, which is kind of crammed, but I don't know how well you can see it, but there's these white pieces back here. Those are doffers that actually hits the cotton off of there. These are here just lubricate the spindles, but then pretty much just picks the cotton off of the plant, throws it up in the basket. And these are self round balers, so they will make round bales back here. They're very nice machines. You don't have to have any other equipment like the buggies or the module builders or anything, but they just have the wrap here. It automatically wraps, and then you get yourself some round bales that come out the back. But that's pretty much it for these two machines. They're pretty much just identical besides the year. And as I'm gonna walk over here, we have a few other things. We actually have I'll show you this first here. We have an old 4020 that we still have from years ago. Pretty much the only thing that this thing does now is pretty much just feed two of our cows that we still have. But other than that, it still runs. It's pretty good. It's old, as you can tell. Never sits inside the shop, but it has the old, well, actually it's a newer version. It has the better gear system than the old. I think they used to have like an ABCD type gear system, but this one's still pretty old, but it still runs. It works pretty good. We still really like it. We use it for quite a few things. But then over here we have another old tractor. We have this 4555. This is what we were using at the beginning of the year to stack bales and stuff. We put this, the tractor didn't come with it. Only, I would say 5-6 years ago, we put this fork system on here. And then now that's pretty much what we use it for. Back in the day, my parents, they used to use this for all their other stuff on the farm, their everyday things. But now we have bigger tractors like this thing. But now the only thing this thing pretty much does is just odd end things here around the farm if need be. But pretty much just using the forks for stacking bales and stuff. But this is a 4555. I'm not quite sure what the year model is on it, but I know that it is old, but it works. And I believe this tractor has gotten a turbo rebuild. I believe we did that quite a few years ago, but it does have a new turbo on it. But other than that, the engine is still factory. That's from what I know. I think the engine is still new. I don't even know how many hours it has on it. It has quite a bit. I could check, but I don't know where to check on that, so I'll just leave that alone. But then we also have this thing right here. This is one of two. This is an 8225R, 225 horsepower. The second one of this is at our other farm. It's further down south. We have some land that we're renting out there. But also the tractors are pretty much identical. Besides, the other tractor does not have that floor pedal right there. This right here is just to control your speed if you want to. The other 225 does not have that, and it has black fenders that stick out a little bit further. That's pretty much the only difference. Other than that, those two are also just the same. That's pretty much, we bought them both at the same time. One just had different fenders on it and not that speed pedal, but we're like, yeah, that's fine, we'll still take both of them. These are, I don't even know how old they are. They're also, I think they're from 2010 or so, maybe older, not quite sure, don't quote me 100% on it, but they are quite old, but they still work very well. We use them for everything. We use them for shredding. In this case, we're shredding all of our corners and whatnot. So we use this mainly for shredding and for stacking the cotton bales for those pickers and our strippers, which I'll get to the strippers later. But this thing also does more smaller end jobs around the farm. Nothing like plowing or anything. It doesn't quite have enough horsepower for stuff like that, but yeah, it's still a really great tractor. We love it. Right now we're using it for shredding. We're going to be shredding all of our corners. So yeah, I will show the rest of the equipment as soon as I get to them. We're not very busy. We're slightly busy doing different things here and there. But whenever I get to it, it'll probably be a few days that whenever I get a chance to, I'll head over to the rest of the equipment and kind of show it around. But as for now, this is it for over here. We have some other equipment at a few other barns and stuff like that. But whenever I get to there, then I'll film that and then I'll just edit it all into one video for you guys. But yeah, this is it for here. Time for the other equipment. And here at the next shop, we have two more tractors. But before I forget, that 4555 that I just showed you, I asked my dad about it and he said they have done one engine rebuild on it, but this one right here, this is a 4455. It has the smaller tires in the front, so it's not a four-wheel drive. But this one, everything is brand new. They haven't done nothing to this yet. This thing is an amazing tractor. It always starts. We love this thing. And behind this one, which don't mind the beauty of this one, and we have this one back here. This is our newest tractor. This is an 8370R. This is our biggest tractor we have, 370 horsepower. We usually have the duals on it. The duals are right there. We have some pretty big weights usually on it. We have some inner dual weights here and back there, and then these outside dual weights, there's tons of weights on here too. But this tractor right here is our strongest tractor. We use this thing for our air seeder, our plow, anything big. But this spring, whenever our peanuts were barely coming up, we had to use this tractor for sand fighting. So we took the duals off to put less compaction in between the rows. So we took the duals off, put it there for now, but soon, we're gonna put the duals back on there because we are going to use our peanut digger, which is right over there. If you can see it, I'll show that to you in a minute. But this tractor is our newest one. I believe, if I'm not wrong, we got it in 2015. We bought it when it had less than 100 hours, I believe. So we did buy it used with it, but it was barely used. But this thing is amazing. We love this thing. It's also the newest style tractor. I might as well show you the inside while I'm at it. Just walk around here. We did also tint the windows on it, just because. Less heat. This tractor is the newest style, or one of the newer styles that has that one bigger screen, so you don't need the separate GPS screen right here with the smaller monitor right here. It just has everything right here, all your controls on this one thing. It doesn't have that separate side panel right here with all the controls and whatnot on there. It's just all one thing right here. That, and it has this little park, forward, reverse, neutral thing right here. But some of the, like my dad, my uncle, they don't really like this thing right here, but I personally like it. It's actually quite nice. But this is a really nice tractor. I'm just gonna go over there now. I'll show you some of that other equipment. Oh, before I show you that, I'll show you this right here. we have a forklift that we use around the shop for everything, to carry any totes, stuff like that around anywhere, bags of wheat and stuff. I know it says for peanuts only, but we store wheat in there. But this is a forklift. We used to have one that was gas, but now this one is propane. I can't say I like the propane, but I don't like how the clutch system is on it, because you slightly press on the speed and then it releases the brake or the clutch by itself, and all of a sudden it'll go really quickly and then it'll stop by itself. It's very annoying, but something to get used to, but still a really good forklift. I like it. And we also have our backhoe right here. This is also a John Deere, orange, not green, but it is still John Deere. This one, I don't even know what year model it is, to be honest, but we did get it last year sometime. We needed another one. We have two of them now. We have one that's at our other farm down south, and this one here. We needed a new one. They stopped making them, so we had to find someone that was willing to sell one. We found one. So for some reason, I don't know why they stopped making them, but anyway, if you're ever looking for a backhoe like this, you're gonna need to find someone that's that has one used. But they're really good backhoes. We like them because it has the bucket in the front. You can also put forks on there if you want, but we just have the bucket in the front with the backhoe right here. And this thing, we use this thing for everything, for like fixing shorts, digging lines, stuff like that. Use that thing quite often. But now I'll show you some of our equipment that we have back there. So this right here is one of 3 nursing tanks that we have. We call them nursing tanks. Some other people might call them something else. Some people might call them water trailers, but we'll use these for quite a few things, for like hauling fertilizer, to hauling pre-fertilizer for when we plant in the beginning of the year, or even for just water, for filling up the pickers with water, because they require some water. Or we'll even use it for just straight up water, to just in case if there's like a fire or something. So that's pretty much just like a water trailer was what you would call it. And then this right here, this is our peanut digger. This is what we're gonna use later here in like 2.5 months, maybe, give or take. I'm not quite sure. But this thing will dig all of our peanut acres. It is 8 rows, and I'll probably get more into detail on it whenever we start digging our peanuts, because then I can show it to you in action while we're digging peanuts. But basically it just digs there are these blades down here. They'll dig the peanuts up out of the ground, and then these spiky things right here, these are just pretty much conveyors. They'll bring the peanuts, or they'll kind of shake them to get all the dirt off of it, and then they'll bring them around back. And then these rollers here will kind of turn them, and then it'll merge 2 rows into one, flipping them upside down to where the peanuts are facing the sun to where they can dry. So this is an 8-rower. They don't make them bigger because they are quite heavy, and it's kind of far back from the tractor. So a lot of people, they only have like 4 rowers or 6 rowers, but we just have one 8-rower, and it converts it into 4 smaller rows right here. And then this right here is one of our diesel tanks. We also have another one, just the blue one. If I end up seeing it, I'll show you that one too. But it did not come with this Thunder Creek def tank. We put this on ourselves. You can tell we kind of jimmy rigged it here with welding this little metal bar here with a bolt, and then bolting it down like that. But this is where we just store def in here. That's what these tanks are for. It has a motor back there with nozzle and everything. You can hook this up to the tractor, and then it turns the pump on. So that stores def, and then that stores diesel. And this thing right here is basically just a plant. It's what we use when we don't have electricity somewhere. We just fill that thing up with diesel and turn that sucker on, and then it generates electricity. Moving on to back here on this side of the shop, we got ourselves just a couple of random little things that we store back here. This right here, we converted this into a rod weeder, and what that means is it just has a rod right there and blades right here. The row comes between here, which you do this before you plant anything, and then the bar turns with these hydraulic hoses, and then it pretty much just weeds out anything that's on the entire field. Every now and then, if you really need to and you need to dry your peanuts after it rains or something, what we'd then have to do is we'd have to take off every other shank, because there's just a rod there, and then use that for turning over peanuts where they would dry quicker. But right now it's just, we use it for weeds sometimes. And here we just have some random little toolbars with sand, we call them sand fighters. So they'll just have, we use these in the beginning of the year. They'll just have shanks like that, stirs up the dirt. This is the same thing, just different color. This one's orange, this one's green. But these are sand fighters, fights the sand, stirs up the dirt where it doesn't blow as much dust. And this is an 885, or that's what we call it. I don't know if there's a specific name for these. Some people probably would call it a cultivator maybe. But basically this thing is really old. We used to use this thing a lot more back in the day, but not so much anymore. Pretty much just has a sweep here. Row obviously would come right here in between here. And a sweep kills everything, or kind of cultivates everything in between. And then you can put these things down right here all the way to the bottom, and then you can make a little mound in the middle. But it's not very precise and it doesn't work too good. But every now and then we might use it to get rid of some weeds in between crops, like whenever we have cotton and there's weeds, too many weeds where we don't want to spray again, then we'd probably use this thing. But we haven't used this thing for quite a while. And then this thing right here is an old wheat drill. Thought he was going to talk about it because we never use it. It's kind of just there. It's been sitting here for forever. Probably birds making nests in there. And moving along over here, we have a few different things. Here we have an old chicken picker if we really need to use it, which it's just another form of a sand fighter, which is that blue thing over there. This thing will just do more smaller sand fighting, I guess. It'll just, these things right here will just roll into the ground, make little pecks in the dirt, and you kind of stir it up that way. But it does solid, so you don't really want to have it while you have cotton, then you're destroying cotton. This thing right here, some of the stuff we haven't used in forever, so I'm not going to get too specific in this. This thing is an old cultivator type thing too that we used to use back in the day. This thing, we bought a new one recently, but we used to use this thing for closing valley tracks on pivots. It just has, it's just like a discer. It has two things right in the front here and two in the back, and it just brings all the dirt from the outside into the middle to close that valley track. That's basically what that is. We haven't used that thing in quite a while because we have a new one now. It works way better. But then right here is a different sand fighter. If you watched some of my other videos, you would have seen it. This one just has, it's like the chicken picker, but it does in between rows and it's way bigger. And it does a way better of a job. You can go way faster and it's way bigger, as you can see. And then right here we have two discers. This one is obviously way smaller and way older. This one's a newer Sunflower, but this one is a John Deere. We haven't used this thing in forever. It does also need a new tire back there. We took it off and used it somewhere else because we needed to, but this thing is quite old and we don't really use it anymore. But this thing is what we used in the beginning of the year, which we still need to fix the tires. I don't know if you saw that video or not, but I believe it's this tire here. Yeah, this tire is still quite wobbly and loose, and there's still that tire, or not the tire that needs to be fixed, the bearing that's in the underneath in the tire there that needs to be fixed. Same with that one right here. This bearing needs to be fixed inside here. Tire goes right there. But this thing, we used this thing in the beginning of this year. I love this discer. It's really nice. But onto some other equipment. Now this is a seed drill that I will mention. This is one that we will use. This was pretty much just a regular wheat drill. We use it for planting wheat, rye, or triticale, stuff like that. There's still some wheat in here. We have it underneath this little lean-to here to where water doesn't get in here. Because if you get water in here, then it gets all moldy and you have to clean it all out, and that's just a lot of work. But this thing is really nice. We have another one. This one's an 8-rower. The other one is a 12-rower. Or you probably wouldn't call them rowers or 8-rowers or whatever, because they do solid, so I guess you would call them. This one would be a 24-footer, and then the other one would be 36-footer, I guess you would say.